Yes, Mr. Haas, I agree. I agree. Melbourne was just a disappointing race. There's no way around that. Mate, it was my home race. Trust me, I'm more disappointed than you are. No, no, look, you're not throwing away your money with this team. I guarantee you results. Hey, 12th was a result. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. Today we have the Jesus Christ, the San Marino Grand Prix, and well, let's hope we do much better than we did in Melbourne, because that was very disappointing for everybody involved. Now, there's a few things to catch you up on. If we go and have a look at the inbox here, we've had to upgrade the tour center as well as the memorabilia room without a trophy, I know, but it needed some work done, so we've just upgraded to save the cost of refurbishing and not getting an upgrade. But what has been upgraded is the factory, so development speed is going to be increased, as is the number of projects we can have. That is all massive news, and hopefully, you know, it's just gonna help things come through a little bit quicker. And I mean, it's expensive to do, but we'd already paid for it last season, so it's absolutely fine. So yeah, that's big news off the track. In all seriousness, back at the factory to have it upgraded is absolutely huge. Now, we also have the new suspension pieces. We only had it on Logan Sargeant's car last time out in Melbourne. We've got it on both cars now. So again, hopefully, we'll see a big benefit of that. And if we have a look at our drivers, we have some points, development points to assign here. So Logan Sargeant, I think we'll put some into control, or do we probably want him... All right, let's go even with control and cornering until we can get them to a decent level. Smoothness and these things, we'll have to deal with that a little bit later on. He has high growth potential, so it should be fine. K-Mag has no development points, but Kevin Frederick does. And again, I think we've just got to get him quicker, don't we? And then we can worry about everything else. So that is Kalen, and there's nothing to report on the staff or anything else. So let's go and have a look at the race and see what we are doing here. So the track map we can see there, it looks like it's going to be a dry weekend. The circuit map for qualifying with the sectors, so you can see a red sector 1, blue sector 2, and a yellow sector 3. Sections by speed. It is more or less high speed. There's a few medium speed, a few 2 traction zones. So it's not real. Traction's not that important, I wouldn't have thought. It's all about cornering, and our car does tend to corner well. So let's hope. Now, expected strategies, we can see there, it's looking like a one-stop, really, isn't it? Whether it's medium, hard, or hard to soft. And the compound performance is there as well. And last year's result, we had K-Mag in 9th. Looks like he was a lap down there. And then if we go all the way down, Schumacher with a DNF. So this would have been his second last race with us, I think. So I'm pretty sure Miami is the next race. So there we go. That is historically what we're looking at. Performance targets, reach Q2. 12th we can do. Can we get a car into Q3? Let's hope so. Surely we can. Fastest lap, we're not going to do that. I wouldn't have. Well, we could do it. It's not that we can't do it. We don't necessarily have the fastest car to guarantee it. Finishing positions, we need to come one car in the top 14. And if we get a car in the top 14 in qualifying today, that'll be 800 grand in the bank, which would be very nice indeed, won't it? All right, let's head off to San Marino. All right, so there we go. Confirmation of the weather for the weekend. I'm going to go and do free practice. We'll have Kevin Frederick in the car for free practice 1, and I will see you for quali 1. All right, so free practice has been done. Let's have a look at the results. FP1, we can see Sargeant there in 11th. We gave Kevin Frederick the run. He was down there in 16th, so not great, but it'll do. You know, he's still learning, and he's more of a long-term maybe than anything else. If we look at FP2, K-Mag jumped back in straight up to P5. Sargeant again sitting there in P11. And FP3, it's always slightly worrying when the last run before qualifying you drop down. So K-Mag in 11th, right there with Mercedes in 8th and George Russell's car there. So not too bad. Now Sargeant was down there in 14th. Now he did have a crash, damaged the chassis before he did his soft tyre run. So there's maybe an excuse for him to be so far down. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit worrying that we're sitting outside of what would be Q3. But let's go and have a look here. You can see setup confidence on both cars is pretty good. So we'll go and we'll go straight through Q1. It should be fine. We've shown no signs of not being able to get through that. So hopefully I'll see you for Q2. So indeed, we did get through relatively comfortably. K-Mag in 12th with just the one run. Sargeant, we had to do a second run. He was just a little bit too close to my liking to the drop zone, but in the end, P13, and very close to K-Mag's time as well, which is nice to see. All right, on to Q2 we go, and hopefully it's going to be even more comfortable. We get into Q3 here. Okay, so we are coming in for the second run now. Both drivers did a run on used soft tires, came out in 6th, which is fairly comfortable. Sargeant, though, in 10th. Now, both Alpines, maybe, especially Ocon, should be able to go faster. Alonso's time might be a little bit more representative, actually. K-Mag, they've both done a green first sector. Oh, and we spun! Sargeant coming out of the hairpin, and he has just lit up the rears too early, hasn't he? So Sargeant is now relying on other cars being slower. Let's go and have a look at some sector times, and it is all green behind Logan Sargeant, and that is not a good sign for him. Now we just need to make sure, I suppose, that K-Mag gets himself out here. He's down to 8th. And Sargeant has just been bumped out to 11th. K-Mag is down to 11th. Can he get himself back in? He's down to 12th, and he can't. Where is our qualifying pace? So, double elimination again in Q2. And, well, we have a new underfloor that should be with us very shortly, and we are going to need that because, I mean, he was faster than he was in qualifying 1. And we just seem to just have no pace at all when it comes to the qualifying right now, which is horribly disappointing. But anyway, that's done. No point crying about it. Let's get ready for the race. So what do we do for pit strategies here? Well, let's have a look at this. Can we do hard to soft? We can. Now, the good thing about this strategy is that if we happen to get a safety car earlier on, we could go hard to medium, and we can see here the medium can go a fair chunk into the race. So I'm actually really liking this as a strategy, I think. And what we'll probably want to do is come in as early as possible to just get the softs to the end, but we want to be on them as long as we possibly can be. So we'll do a similar strategy with K-Mag, I think. We're going to need to be a little bit off strategy just because, well, the car, for whatever reason, is lacking pace again, but, well, let's see how we go. Okay, welcome back. An all Red Bull front row. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong in qualifying. Usually, we've qualified quite well, but, yeah, like I say, for whatever reason, it is just not working for us right now. So it's K-Mag directly in front of us. We are on deploy, as usual, to try and get the good first few laps in if we can. Looks as though K-Mag has moved up, but Sargeant is falling back at a rate here. He's back up to 15th, but he does have Stroll on his inside. And he's dropping more and more back. Now, what sort of tyres are we looking at for the rest of the field? Oh, there we go there. So there's some soft runners. A lot of people are on the hard, though. As Magnussen gets past Ricciardo, has he? And still, Sargeant is going backwards here. Come on, Logan, what is wrong? He does. We did fix the chassis, obviously, before qualifying, so that's not an issue. But yeah, our car just, I don't know. We do seem to develop slower than a few other teams. That's because our sort of HQ with the factory and a lot of other things is just not as upgraded as other teams. Haas actually starts right at the very bottom in terms of sort of the HQ stuff. So maybe other teams have just been able to get their developments onto the car a little bit quicker than we have, and maybe even more of them as well. But yeah, it's obviously concerning that we do appear to be going backwards, but long way to go on this one. DRS is activated now as well. Alright, so K-Mag has done really, really well here. He has caught up to the train in front. So we're sort of, he's got himself into a battle for 6th. He's currently running 11th, but he is, as I say, right where we would want him to be. At the back of this train that Ocon is currently leading. Now, he got past both McLarens and then just closed the gap. They couldn't get back past him, even with DRS. So it looks as though, fingers crossed, there is a bit of race pace in the car. It's just qualifying pace that we're lacking. And if you've got to have one, you'd rather have race pace, obviously. That's where the points are dished out. And that's obviously the longer part of the weekend is the race. But we're certainly going to give ourselves work to do unless we can pick up this qualifying pace. But you can see there, Ocon is definitely holding people up. and given where we started, if we can get K-Mag into a P6, then we'd be quite happy with that. Now, in terms of potentially looking towards an undercut here, the issue we're going to have with that, of course, is that we're on a hard tyre, still a long, long way to go. And we don't have the out-and-out car pace to be able to, you know, maybe look to switch to a two-stopper. You can see, though, Sargeant is, well, he's stuck behind the Alfa Romeos, and he's got quite the gap in front of him, even if he does get past. So, yeah, it could be a long race for Sargeant. K-Mag, though, may have played himself in here. Alright, I'm having a change of thought here for Sargeant, because he's kind of in no man's land. I think what I'm going to do is try and push him on as much as we can, put him onto the medium tyre, and just see if he can race himself with a bit of car pace back into where he needs to be. So we're going to try that, a mid-race strategy change. Haven't done that before. Okay, we are starting to get some of the big players in the race stopping now. Unfortunately, those aren't necessarily us, but K-Mag is currently inside the points, and he's just kind of stuck where he is. But again, I don't think we need to worry too much about anything just yet. It's a little bit early for that. We've entered the pit window for Sargeant, his new pit window. The plan with him, though, is going to be very much just race these tyres till they're dead, and then go from there. You can see, though, he's just in no man's land. There's no one anywhere near him. So, yeah, it's a bit of a strange race for old Logan here. All right, so Logan Sargeant is coming in, lap 36. And let's see what sort of pit stop we get here from the team. Magnussen is currently 11th. He has got passed by... Norris has got past him, which is not great. But the rest of them, he's back to 12th now as Bottas has got past him as well. This is trending a little bit like Melbourne, if I'm honest. But K-Mag will have soft tyres at the end. We can only hope that he can go hard on those. Okay, so K-Mag is currently sort of in a bit of a battle here with Norris. Hamilton has stopped. So we're going to just try and push on as much as we can here. If we can get past Norris, brilliant. I'm hoping to do 2 more laps here. As I say, ideally, if we can get past Norris, that would be perfect. If we can't, what are his tyres like? What I don't want to do is come in and stop at the same time as Norris, because McLaren's pit crew are just faster than us, so we're just going to come out back behind him again. His tyres are in a better condition than ours, so we should be able to get past him with DRS, and then we actually really put in a bit of a DRS lap. Not DRS lap, like a qualifying lap, I mean. And then at least come into the pits in front of him. Let's see if that's going to work out in practice for us. And, well, hopefully it is, or else we've made a horrible mistake here. Oh dear. Okay, well, let's have a harvest lap stuck behind him then. We'll come in, and then we'll try and really go on the out lap.
Yeah, copy.
As for Sargeant, he is currently sitting there in 14th. And he is 11 seconds behind Hamilton, 8 seconds ahead of Albon. He is just continuing to be in Logan Sargeant no man's land. Okay, we are following in we are following in Norris, which is exactly what we didn't want to do. Everybody is coming in this lap. And yeah, there goes Norris. Actually, not a bad stop, 3.1. By our standards, that's lightning. All right, let's go. All right, here we go. K-Mag is closing back in on Lando Norris for 12th. We're using up as much petrol as we have. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to try and get as many places back here as we can. The points, we can kind of see it. We can just about see it on the, can we see them turning in there? Yeah, you can just see them. up there. There's a couple of cars. That is Gasly in 10th, and I think even Ricciardo in 9th, and then Russell as well. So we've just about burnt through our extra petrol here. We've got a DRS open. Can we get a move done round the outside? Kevin Magnussen, not quite. And of course, the problem with this track, and there's not many. This is one of my favorite tracks. Certainly, if you're sort of doing the sim racing games, it's an absolutely brilliant track to drive. Its downfall is not many overtaking places. You are pretty much just limited to the front straight. So we will look to use the overtake on this particular lap because we need to get this done. There's what, 14, 15 laps to go here. Let's see if we can get this done this lap. We should do. We've got the inside line, and that should be job done past Lando Norris. And now we can look to move on up the road. 3 seconds away are the points. We need to close that in as quickly as possible. Okay, so Norris did get back past us, but we are definitely catching these cars in front. You can see visually how much closer we are. And if you look at last lap times, I mean, the lead car of us and Norris is doing a 17, a second a lap faster than what those cars are. So, I mean, it's the DRS that's making the difference for the most part as you leapfrog the car in front. But Ricciardo was on a hard tyre, which is why he's dropping back so quick to us. The issue perhaps is that now that Gasly and Russell have got past him, they are also driving off into the distance here. But with, what, 11 laps to go, it's not insurmountable to get points here, but it's certainly going to be a little bit difficult. We need to get these McLarens quickly, I would suggest. And Sargeant, he's still back in Logan Sargeant no man's land, as we can see. So, quiet one for him. Alright, so Ricciardo has managed to get past, Magnussen, has managed to get past Ricciardo, which is good because you can see Norris there had also just gotten past. So, yeah, we used up pretty much all our battery to try and get that done as quickly as possible. And we're up to 12th, but the points now are, well, they're now 3 seconds away, but there's no Ricciardo roadblock to help us out here. So, it just got more difficult. So yeah, this is a bit of a frustrating one. We're lapping 18.1s, 18.2 for Norris, 18.0, or pretty much an 18.1, faster than Verstappen. I mean, we're pretty much the fastest car on track apart from Perez, and we're just not, we're doing the sort of roughly the same speed as everybody else. Unfortunately for us, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th are the fastest cars on track just now. So yeah, and it's just not quite going for us. Oh, hang on. Multiple cars have crashed. Is it going to be a safety car? So we've got 2 cars in the points, Bottas and Sainz. Let's have a look at exactly what has happened here. And it's going to be Sainz into the back of Bottas, is it? Sainz locks up and just clips the back of Valtteri Bottas. And I don't think it's not going to be a safety car, but they are both in the pits. And so this could, almost should, actually move us into a points-paying position here. Sainz is going to have a penalty to serve as well. So we've passed Sainz. We've passed Bottas, have we? Yes, we have. So we are 10th with 7 laps to go. Alright, so we're sitting behind Lando Norris here. I feel like these cars up here, the Gasly and Russell, are tantalizingly close, but I do think realistically they're a little bit out of our reach. But what we're doing is we're recharging the batteries, and my plan here is that we're going to probably next lap go overtake on Norris down that front straight, and then go deploy for a lap and give ourselves the best chance possible to then get clear of Norris's DRS over the course of the lap, and maybe start to catch those in front, although that is probably asking a little bit. They're given that they're 3 seconds, and we're about to come around to start lap 60 for us, sorry. So let's get overtake going. Let's burn this little bit of extra petrol, And can we get Norris down this straight? It's looking questionable. We're a little bit too far back, perhaps. Can we get it done into the chicane? No. Okay, well, we'll go back to neutral. We'll just try and be closer coming onto the straight. Now, unfortunately, not getting the move done that lap has probably written off any chances of moving further up. But Norris is still very much on the cards here. And we want to get him. We are closer this lap. And with overtake, and then hopefully enough to do a lap of deploy as well, then this should be fairly simple, shouldn't it? A bit more of a slam dunk. Closing, closing, closing. We go round the outside. That move is done. Let's go to deploy, and let's try and put this beyond doubt. We can't really attack with the tyres any more than we are because we're not going to get to the end. Is this a lapped car up here? Now, has this lapped car actually just brought us back into play a little bit with these cars in front? The gap to Norris is 0.6 of a second. It's not really enough. He's still going to have DRS potentially, but we're going to keep deploying. Are we? Well, we're out now, so we'll go back to neutral. But we have potentially broken the DRS to Norris. I'm not sure if he was closing in a little bit there, actually. 2 laps to go. We can probably afford to be a little bit more aggressive on the tyres. We've got 10% tyre life, basically, to get us through 2 laps. It's 1.5 seconds now to George Russell in front. If we can get that to within DRS for this straight, you just never know. You just never know. Deploy. Can we get to the back of George Russell? We are almost there. We are almost there. And Gasly as well. We're going to keep going with the petrol. We're going to put ourselves into debt here, but I don't think we're going to be quite close enough in the end. We'll attack with the tyres. We really do have nothing to lose. Petrol is slightly in debt, but hopefully will come back to us. And well, if we had managed to get Norris that 1 lap sooner, then you do never know what could have happened. Gasly and Russell are struggling more than we are with tyre life just now. Although we are... Just send it. Give it a send. Give it a send somewhere here. Come on, K-Mag. Can he get this done for us? It feels so slow now after going double speed for so long. It doesn't look like it's going to happen for us. Can we do a lunge into the last corner? That is pretty much our last chance. It's been a much, much better second half of the race for K-Mag. It really is a case of what could have been on in the terms of qualifying, but it will be P9 for K-Mag. That close to 7th, though. And he's out of petrol. Right.
Yeah,
the line. He got there. You've only got to cross the line. You've only got to cross the line. That's absolutely fine. And Sargeant, he will trail home in 14th on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap. And he can wave to K-Mag as he goes past. So there we go. We've had scored points, which is I guess, the target. And yeah, I mean, in hindsight, you know, we weren't far away from 5th. So the strategy was maybe off just a little bit, but yeah, I wonder if we had stopped for the soft tyres a little bit sooner, maybe, and we could have had them for longer rather than sort of chewing at them at the end to try and get that gap down. But 2 points is better than a kick in the backside, and Magnussen actually dropped a position. Sargeant, with his 2 points, drops down to 13th as well. And if we look at the constructors, well, we have dropped down to 6th. Alpine, 22 points they scored that race. So we've got a little bit of a gap now between us and them and Alfa Romeo as well. But McLaren is a little ways back as well. But early days, of course, in this championship. And guys, that will do it for today. Marginally better than Melbourne, but still slightly disappointing, obviously. K-Mag with a point and Kalen Frederick with a development point as well. So that'll do it. I will see you next time. I think the next race is Miami, isn't it? So, yeah, one of the home races for the team. Let's hope that brings a better result. Take care. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Ass. Today we have the Emiliano, I've got to read it, Emiliano John Ferdinand Vadero Grand Prix, Emiliano Romagna Grand Prix, Emilia Romagna That's how they say it, isn't it? Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We got there in the end. Let's just start again.